Trekkies, so you're all fluent in Klingon, if not in English. In which case, you will know that Mevyap in Klingon means enough already, which is what I think many of you would like to say to our politicians. So at least there's a new Star Trek movie to take our minds off our troubles. So we asked our very own Officer Sulu, Quentin Letts of the Daily Mail, to take a look at those strange humanoids at Parliament and what they've been up to this week.
You will experience fear.
This day of reckoning.
Earth, 2009. No sign of life, or at least intelligent life. This behind me must be the hub, the Starship Enterprise of Great Britain, known as the Houses of Parliament. Now it's been... Make your mind up. Now, it's been a momentous week for the humans down here as their leader struggles to save the galaxy. Sorry, Great Britain, from the worst economic meltdown since the Klingons blew the budget on sonic disruptors. So what was the best form of attack? Massive borrowing and aim a few meteorites at the rich.
In November, I announced a new rate of income tax of 45% on incomes above £150,000. That's the top 1% of taxpayers. In order to help pay for additional support for people now and to invest in the future, I've decided that the new rate will be 50% and will come in from April next year, a year earlier.
I hope you know what you're doing.
So do I.
I'm lost in space! I must be heading back in time to the 1970s when a Labour government wanted to squeeze the rich until the pips squeaked. David Cameron says we're all heading for a giant black hole.
The last Labour government gave us the winter of discontent. This Labour government has given us the decade of debt. The last Labour government left the dead unburied. This one leaves the debts unpaid. They sit there, running out of money, running out of moral authority, running out of time, and you have to ask yourself, what on earth is the point of another 14 months of this government of the living dead?
Mr. Speaker,
Nick Clegg wasn't over the moon either.
Britain's taxes are still too heavy on those who can least afford it and too easy to avoid for those who know how. That's how this government, and I think the Conservatives, seem to want it. We are now the only party who will do things differently and get practical help through lower taxes to people who are really struggling.
It's politics, Jim, but not as we know it. This curious life form, Alistair Darling, reckons that there are green shoots in the economy. He talks about projected growth next year. Well, I can tell you, I've only been on this planet 20 seconds, and I reckon if they've got projected borrowings of 175 billion, if they've got deflation, if they've got unemployment of 2.1 million and rising, it ain't logical.
It's very, very disappointing in terms of unemployment. I don't think we've hit the bottom yet at all, given this is a lagged indicator, as you know. But we are trying to provide more and more help for people, both immediately, before they're made redundant, and at 3 months and 6 months.
There's always one baddie, one foul alien in every... Not now, dear, I'm busy. There's always one baddie, one foul alien in every Star Trek episode. But with this government, we've got many more to choose from. At the moment, everyone loves to hate Jackie Smith, Home Secretary. Her latest space crash? All 12 men arrested on suspicion of terrorism offences in raids across the northwest of England 2 weeks ago have been released without charge, but most handed over to the immigration authorities. Did the police go over the top? Earlier in the week, Miss Smith appeared before the House looking pale, but defending the raid. Could it be she was awaiting a lasering?
This should have been a statement where the House could ask her why her department made wildly exaggerated claims about leaks in national security, which led to the utterly unjustified arrest of my honourable friend, the stuff of police states, not democracy. It should also have been an opportunity for the House to question her about the worrying issues that have arisen as a result of the policing of the G20 protests.
Mr. Speaker, I think the fact that the Right Honourable Gentleman chose to spend a significant proportion of his response to my statement, talking about me rather than the issue, says rather more about the right honourable gentleman than it says about me.
What planet are you on, Jackie? After the Home Secretary's second Holmes row, the Prime Minister waded into the expenses rumpus, appearing at Downing Street, artfully disguised as a human. A rather smiley one at that. Anyone get a receipt for this?
I'm announcing today urgent proposals to make our system of MPs' allowances and expenses simpler and less generous. Sir Christopher Kelly and the Committee on Standards in Public Life are continuing to carry out an independent review into the system so we can make permanent changes. But I believe we have to act urgently with interim proposals to restore people's confidence that MPs are there to serve the public and not there to serve themselves.
But the tribal elders of the Conservatives and the Lib Dems rejected the idea, leaving Mr Brown spinning in an orbit all of his own. And the backbench MPs didn't want it either. They're content with their world. It is quite unlike any other. That's quite enough for this week's episode. Beam me up, Scotty.